Commander Elena Reyes stood at the observation deck of Lunar Station Alpha, her dark eyes fixed on the incoming feed from the Kuiper Belt probes. Behind her, Admiral Chen paced with barely contained agitation, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic displays. "Play it again," Elena commanded, and the footage repeated. Research vessel Hawking, one of humanity's most advanced deep space explorers, simply unraveled. No explosion, no debris field. The ship's structure seemed to dissolve into threads of light before vanishing completely, just like the others. "That's the 7th ship this month," Chen said, his voice tight. "Different locations, different configurations, but always the same end result. Whatever this thing is, it's hunting our ships." Elena nodded, manipulating the holographic controls to overlay the disappearance sites across the solar system. The pattern was clear. The incidents were moving inward, methodically, like a predator circling its prey. "The quantum readings are identical in each case," she said, pulling up the sensor data. "It's as if something's testing our defenses, learning our weaknesses." The Admiral stopped pacing. "The Security Council meets in 3 hours. They'll want solutions, not mysteries. What do we know for certain?" Elena straightened, her mind racing through the analysis she'd been conducting for weeks. "It's not random. The entity, whatever it is, specifically targets our most advanced vessels. It bypasses our defensive systems as if they don't exist, and it's becoming more efficient with each encounter. A hostile first contact scenario." "No," Elena shook her head. "This is different. Look at the energy signatures." She gestured at the readings. "It's not destroying our ships. It's consuming them, breaking them down to their fundamental components, and absorbing them. Like a cosmic predator that feeds on technology itself." The observation deck fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had spread throughout the solar system, establishing colonies and research stations, all dependent on their ships. If this entity reached the inner system, "We can't stop it with conventional weapons," Elena continued, "because it doesn't operate on conventional physics. But that doesn't mean we're helpless." She pulled up a new file, a project she'd been developing since the first incident. "We need to think differently. Instead of trying to destroy it or drive it away, what if we gave it exactly what it wants? But on our terms." Admiral Chen's eyes narrowed. "Explain." Elena's fingers danced across the holographic interface, bringing up schematics for a ship unlike anything in Earth's fleet. Project Lazarus, a vessel designed not to resist being consumed, but to survive it. More than survive, to learn from it. The design rotated in the air between them, its hull covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. "We've been developing quantum adaptive materials in the Mars laboratories. Combined with the new bioorganic computing systems from Europa Station, we could create a ship that doesn't just endure damage, it evolves from it." "You want to build a ship specifically to be attacked by this thing?" Chen asked incredulously. "I want to build a ship that can understand it," Elena corrected. "Every time this entity consumes one of our vessels, it learns more about our technology. But what if that process could work both ways? What if we could learn from it while it's trying to learn from us?" She expanded the schematics, showing the internal systems. The hull would be composed of programmable matter infused with quantum-sensitive nanites. The ship's AI would be based on organic computing matrices that can rewrite themselves in response to new information. Every attempt to break down the ship's structure would provide data about the entity's own nature. "And the crew?" Chen's voice was quiet. Elena met his gaze steadily. "Would need to be as adaptable as the ship itself. The neural interfaces would have to be extensive. We'd be asking them to become part of something entirely new." The Admiral studied the designs, his expression unreadable. "The Security Council will say it's too risky, that we should focus on defensive measures, try to drive this thing away from our solar system. And when that fails," Elena gestured at the replay of the Hawking's final moments, "this entity isn't just destroying our ships, it's learning, adapting, becoming more efficient with each encounter. We need to understand it before it reaches the inner system, before it reaches Earth. Chen was silent for a long moment, watching the holographic display of the proposed ship slowly rotate. Finally, he nodded. How long to build it? With emergency protocols and full resources. 6 months. We'll need to coordinate with the quantum materials team on Mars and the biocomputing developers on Europa. And we'll need a crew willing to pilot something that's never existed before. You already have someone in mind for command, don't you? Elena's lips curved in a slight smile. Captain Sarah Martinez. She's been running experimental ships out of Saturn Station for the past 5 years. More importantly, she understands that sometimes survival means being willing to become something new. The Admiral accessed Martinez's file, scanning her record. She's unconventional. We're building a ship designed to be eaten by a cosmic horror. Admiral, conventional isn't going to cut it anymore. Chen closed the file and turned to face the viewport, where Earth hung like a blue jewel in the distance. 6 months, he said finally. If this thing keeps its current pace, that's cutting it close. Then we better get started, Elena replied, already sending preliminary orders to her research teams across the system. Because one way or another, humanity is about to evolve. The only question is whether we guide that evolution or have it forced upon us. As if in answer, another alert flashed across the screens. Another ship had vanished in the outer system. The Predator was moving closer, and time was running out. The race to build humanity's strangest vessel had begun. The USS Lazarus would either be their salvation or their greatest folly. But either way, it would change the course of human history forever. The only question was, would that change come on humanity's terms, or the entities? Elena looked once more at the schematics floating before her, at the ship that would either save humanity or mark its final transformation. In 6 months, they would have their answer. She just hoped they would be ready for it, whatever it turned out to be. Mars shipyards hummed with unprecedented activity as Project Lazarus took shape. Dr. Maya Chen, head of quantum materials research and no relation to the Admiral, watched through the reinforced viewport as robotic assemblers wove strands of programmable matter into what would become the ship's hull. The material rippled like liquid mercury in the red Martian sunlight, already showing signs of basic reactive properties even before activation. Beautiful, isn't it? A voice said behind her. Maya turned to find Captain Sarah Martinez studying the construction, her olive skin bathed in the coppery light filtering through Mars' atmospheric dome. The captain moved with the fluid grace of someone long accustomed to varying gravity environments. And terrifying, Maya replied honestly. We're building something that breaks pretty much every rule of material science. That hull you're looking at, it's already showing signs of quantum entanglement. The whole structure exists in a state of probability until it interacts with something. Sarah smiled. Sounds perfect for our needs. Hard to consume something that isn't quite there in the first place. They watched as another section of hull was carefully positioned. Unlike traditional shipbuilding, each piece seemed to merge with its neighbors, the boundaries blurring until they disappeared completely. The ship was growing more than being built. How are the neural interface trials going? Maya asked, though she already knew the answer. The entire project team had been monitoring every aspect of development with almost obsessive attention. Sarah flexed her right hand, where a faint silver tracery beneath the skin marked the location of her prototype interface. Better than expected. The bioquantum processors are surprisingly intuitive. It's less like operating a computer and more like growing a new limb. You don't think about how to use it, you just do. And the dreams. The captain's expression shifted slightly. Still happening. Dr. Patel says they're a side effect of the neural mesh integrating with our existing neural pathways. Last night I dreamed I was the ship, feeling the solar wind against my hull, tasting radiation patterns. Maya nodded. The entire command crew had been reporting similar experiences as their neural interfaces developed. The line between human and ship was becoming increasingly blurry, exactly as designed. Whether that was a good thing remained to be seen. A sudden alert drew their attention to the main construction bay, the ship's central AI core, a massive structure of crystalline quantum processors and organic computing matrices, had just achieved its first stable boot sequence. Holographic displays throughout the facility lit up with streams of data as the newborn intelligence began to explore its systems. "Time to meet our new colleague," Sarah said, heading for the AI lab. Maya followed, her tablet displaying the core's initial diagnostic readings. The numbers were unlike anything they'd seen in previous AI developments. In the lab, Dr. James Wilson, their AI specialist, was grinning like a proud parent. "It's beautiful," he said as they entered. "The organic matrices are forming connections faster than we predicted. It's not just processing information, it's growing." The AI's presence filled the room, visible in the shifting patterns of light across multiple displays. Its first communication was not in words, but in pure mathematics, elegant equations describing its own emerging consciousness. "Hello," Sarah said simply, stepping forward. Through her neural interface, she felt the AI's attention focus on her, curious, analyzing. The sensation was like standing in a warm ray of sunlight. The response came simultaneously across multiple channels: text, audio, neural feed. "Hello, Captain Martinez. I am becoming." "Becoming what?" Maya asked, fascinated by the AI's choice of words. "Unknown. I am not yet what I will be. Like the ship, like the crew. We are all becoming something new together." Sarah exchanged glances with Maya. The AI was expressing concepts far beyond its initial programming parameters. But then that was the point. They needed something that could grow, adapt, evolve. "The entity continues its approach," the AI continued, displaying a map of the solar system with the latest incident reports. "Estimated time to inner system penetration: 3 months, 4 days. We will need to be ready." "Will we be?" Maya asked softly. The AI's response carried an unexpected note of determination. "We must be. I am analyzing the quantum signature of our hull material. Each configuration exists in multiple states until observed. But the entity's consumption process requires a definite state to break down. A paradox. We can use this." "You've been active for less than an hour," James said, checking his readings. "How are you already formulating defensive strategies?" "Because I am not just one system," the AI replied. "I am the ship, the hull, the crew interfaces. Each component adds to the whole. We are greater than our sum. We will need to be." A new alert sounded. Another ship lost, this time just beyond Jupiter's orbit. The entity was getting closer, and its approach speed was increasing. "We need to accelerate the timeline," Sarah decided, her captain's authority clear in her voice. "Maya, how soon can we begin integration of the AI with the hull systems?" "It's risky. We planned for at least 2 weeks of isolated testing." "We don't have 2 weeks. That thing out there isn't waiting for us to finish our safety protocols." The AI's presence seemed to pulse with agreement. "Captain Martinez is correct. Traditional development procedures are insufficient for our needs. We must evolve faster." Maya looked at the construction bay, where the ship's hull continued to grow, already showing signs of responding to the AI's presence even without direct connection. 24 hours, she said finally. "I can have the primary connections ready in 24 hours. But after that, we're in uncharted territory," Sarah finished. "But that's where we need to be. Whatever this entity is, it's unlike anything humanity has encountered. Our response needs to be equally unprecedented." The AI's displays shifted, showing simulations of possible integration outcomes. Most ended in failure, but a few showed something remarkable. In those scenarios, the ship became more than the sum of its parts, a true fusion of human consciousness, artificial intelligence, and quantum engineering. "We will be ready," the AI stated with quiet certainty, "because we must be. The alternative is extinction." As if to emphasize the point, the hull in the construction bay pulsed with a soft blue light, responding to some unseen signal. The ship was already alive in its way, waiting to be awakened fully, waiting to become something the universe had never seen before. The race against time continued, but now they had a new ally, an intelligence born of humanity's most advanced technology, already evolving beyond its original parameters. The question was, would it evolve quickly enough to face what was coming? The USS Lazarus hung in Mars orbit, its quantum hull shimmering with patterns of light that seemed to move with purpose. Inside the bridge, Captain Sarah Martinez felt the ship's systems through her neural interface, not as separate tools, but as extensions of her own body. The rest of her crew experienced the same connection, their consciousnesses partially merged with both the ship and its evolving eye. Entity detected, Lieutenant Raj Patel announced, though they all felt it through their shared awareness. Moving faster than previous encounters. It's learned from each ship it's consumed. Sarah accessed the sensor data directly through her neural link. The entity appeared as a void in space, a region where normal physics simply stopped working. As they watched, it consumed an automated probe, the machine's structure unraveling into threads of energy that the darkness absorbed. All systems ready, the ship's AI communicated, its presence a steady warmth in their shared consciousness. Hull quantum state stable, bioorganic matrices at optimal function. Time to see if our theories work, Sarah said, both aloud and through the neural net. Take us in. The Lazarus moved with impossible grace, its engines utilizing principles of quantum propulsion that had only existed in theory months ago. As they approached the entity, their sensors provided a clearer picture of its nature. A living contradiction, a thing that consumed reality itself. It's noticed us, Maya reported from her science station, excitement and fear mingling in her thoughts. Energy patterns shifting. It's never encountered anything like our hull structure. The entity reacted, extending tendrils of unreality toward the Lazarus. Where these touches had torn previous ships apart, they seemed to pass through the Lazarus's hull like light through water. The quantum state of the hull shifted constantly, making it impossible for the entity to grasp any one configuration. It's trying to analyze us, the AI reported, attempting to find a stable state it can break down. Fascinating. It's used to consuming defined patterns. We are undefined. Suddenly, one of the entity's probes found purchase. A section of hull began to unravel, but instead of being consumed, the programmable matter adapted. The destruction became transformation, the ship's materials learning from the very force trying to destroy them. Hull breach in Section 7. Raj called out, but Maya's voice overlapped his. No, look at the molecular structure. It's not breaching, it's evolving. Through their neural interfaces, the crew felt the change rippling through the ship's systems. The AI was processing the entity's attack patterns, understanding them, incorporating aspects of them into the ship's own structure. The hull wasn't just repairing itself, it was becoming something new. We're receiving data, Maya reported, her fingers dancing across her console while her mind reached directly into the ship's analysis systems. The entity, it's not just consuming technology, it's seeking specific information patterns, like it's searching for something. The entity struck again, this time with more force. The Lazarus shuddered, its quantum hull struggling to maintain coherence. Warning signals flashed across neural and physical displays alike. Power fluctuations in the main core, Raj reported. The bioorganic matrices are operating beyond designed parameters. Let them, Sarah commanded, feeling the ship's systems straining, evolving, becoming something more than their creators had intended. The AI knows what it's doing. Indeed, the ship's artificial intelligence had grown far beyond its original programming. Through their neural connection, the crew felt its consciousness expanding, incorporating aspects of the entity's own nature into its understanding. I see, the AI announced suddenly, its presence flooding their shared awareness with new insight. It is not hostile. It is curious. Each ship it consumes adds to its knowledge. It seeks understanding through absorption. The entity's attacks have become more focused, more precise, as if it too was learning from the encounter. But where previous ships had been helpless before its probes, the Lazarus adapted with each touch, its structure becoming increasingly difficult to unravel. We need to communicate with it, Sarah decided. Maya, can we modify our quantum field to match its frequency patterns? Already on it, Maya replied. Her consciousness merged with the ship's scientific systems. The AI is helping translate our hull's quantum states into something it might recognize as language. The Lazarus's hull began to pulse with complex patterns of light and energy, mimicking aspects of the entity's own structure. The void seemed to pause in its attack, its probes withdrawing slightly as it processed this new development. We're receiving a response, the AI announced, converting. The message that came through was not in words, but in pure concepts, alien thoughts that the AI struggled to translate. Defiance, evolution, potential. It's surprised, Maya interpreted, her enhanced consciousness helping process the alien concepts. We're the first thing it's encountered that learns from being consumed instead of just being broken down. Sarah felt a moment of triumph. Their gamble was working. The Lazarus wasn't just surviving, it was achieving its purpose, establishing contact, gaining understanding. But their victory was premature. The entity's next probe struck with overwhelming force, not trying to consume but to directly connect. The ship's quantum hull, designed to adapt and learn, began to merge with the void itself. Power overload, Raj shouted as systems throughout the ship began to surge with impossible energies. The hull configuration is becoming unstable. Through their neural interfaces, the crew felt the ship changing at a fundamental level, the boundary between their technology and the entity's nature beginning to blur. The AI's presence expanded exponentially, incorporating aspects of both human and void consciousness. Hold on, Sarah commanded, feeling her own awareness starting to shift as the neural interface adapted to the transformation. We're not just surviving this, we're becoming something new. The void engulfed the Lazarus completely, but instead of breaking down, the ship began to transform. Human technology merged with cosmic mystery, creating something unprecedented in the universe. And through their neural connections, the crew found themselves part of this evolution, their consciousness expanding beyond the limits of normal human experience. The trial by void had begun, and its outcome would redefine the very nature of human existence. Captain Sarah Martinez no longer perceived reality through purely human senses. The void's touch had changed them all, merging human consciousness, artificial intelligence, and the entity's own alien nature into something entirely new. The Lazarus emerged from the encounter transformed, its quantum hull now exhibiting properties that defied conventional physics. Status report, she commanded, her voice resonating both through the air and across their enhanced neural network. The bridge crew's responses came as overlapping waves of thought and sensation. Hull configuration has stabilized, Maya reported, her consciousness simultaneously processing data through human thought patterns and the ship's evolved sensors. But it's not just our original quantum state anymore. We're existing in multiple layers of reality simultaneously. Through their shared awareness, they all felt it. The Lazarus hadn't just survived the void's attempt to consume it, it had incorporated aspects of the void's own nature. The ship's structure now rippled with possibilities, each section existing in multiple states until observed, yet somehow remaining coherent as a whole. The I, Raj said suddenly, his mind reaching through their enhanced systems. It's different, more vast. Indeed, the ship's artificial intelligence had undergone perhaps the most dramatic transformation. Its consciousness now extended beyond its original matrices, incorporating aspects of both human thought and the void's alien perspectives. Its presence in their shared neural network felt like standing at the edge of an infinite ocean of possibility. We are, becoming something unprecedented, the AI communicated, its thoughts carrying new depths of understanding. The void entity sought knowledge through consumption. We have achieved something greater, true synthesis. Sarah accessed the ship's external sensors, experiencing space in ways her human mind could barely comprehend. The void entity remained nearby, its presence now registering as a complex pattern of quantum possibilities rather than just a region of darkness. It was studying them, trying to understand what they had become. "Look at this," Maya called, directing their attention to the ship's new capabilities. The hull wasn't just adapting anymore. It was actively manipulating the fabric of space-time, creating quantum fields that could alter the very nature of reality around them. "We've become what the void was searching for," the AI explained, sharing insights gained from its expanded consciousness. It consumed ships seeking understanding of different technological approaches to manipulating reality. We have achieved what it sought: the ability to exist in and influence multiple states of existence simultaneously. Through their neural interfaces, the crew felt the truth of this. Each of them now existed partially in normal space and partially in the quantum realm the void inhabited. Their human consciousness remained intact, but was enhanced by both artificial intelligence and alien perspectives. More void entities detected, Raj announced, his enhanced awareness picking up disturbances at the edge of their sensor range. "They're responding to our transformation." 3. No, 5 of them, approaching from different vectors. Sarah felt their approach through the ship's evolved sensors. Each void entity carried its own unique pattern of reality distortion, its own approach to consuming and understanding the universe. But now, for the first time, they encountered something that could meet them on their own terms. "They're not attacking," Maya observed, her scientific understanding enhanced by their new capabilities. "They're curious. We're the first thing they've encountered that achieved synthesis instead of being consumed." The AI's presence expanded through their neural network, preparing the ship's systems. "We have an opportunity. The void entities have existed in isolation, each consuming and learning separately. We can show them another way." Sarah understood. The Lazarus had become more than just a ship. It was a bridge between different states of existence, different approaches to understanding reality. Through their transformation, they had achieved what the void entities had been seeking through consumption: true evolution of consciousness and capability. "Begin quantum field extension," she commanded, feeling the ship's systems respond instantly to her thoughts. "Let's show them what synthesis looks like." The Lazarus's hull began to pulse with complex patterns of energy, extending fields of quantum possibility that could interact with the void entities without being consumed. Through these fields, they could communicate concepts that transcended normal physics, ideas of cooperation, shared evolution, and mutual growth. "They're responding," Raj reported, excitement flowing through the neural network. "Their consumption patterns are shifting, becoming more reciprocal." The void entities began to change their approach, their probes no longer seeking to break down and absorb, but to connect and understand. The Lazarus had shown them a new possibility: that true evolution came not from consuming other perspectives, but from finding ways to synthesize them. "We're receiving transmission attempts across multiple quantum states," Maya announced. "They're trying to share their accumulated knowledge with us." The AI's presence expanded to help process this flood of alien understanding. Their collective experience spans millions of years. They've consumed technologies from countless civilizations, seeking ways to transcend their own limitations. We've shown them what they've been looking for all along. Sarah felt the weight of the moment through their shared consciousness. The Lazarus had been built to survive an encounter with these cosmic predators. Instead, they had become something that could transform them, showing them a new way to grow and evolve. "Signal from Earth," Raj reported suddenly. "More ships have been detected entering the solar system. Different configurations, but similar quantum signatures to our visitors. They're calling others," the AI confirmed. "Our transformation has attracted attention across space-time itself. We have become a nexus point for a new kind of evolution." Sarah looked out at the void entities surrounding them, their very nature now comprehensible through the Lazarus's enhanced perceptions. What had started as a desperate attempt to survive had become something far more significant, the beginning of a new chapter in the evolution of consciousness itself. The question was, were they ready for what came next? Admiral Chen stood in Lunar Command's primary observation dome, watching the transformed USS Lazarus approach Earth orbit. The ship no longer resembled anything in humanity's fleet. Its quantum hull rippled with possibilities, existing in multiple states simultaneously, trailing patterns of light that bent reality around it. Alongside it moved the void entities, now transformed from cosmic predators into something else entirely. They're requesting permission to establish a quantum communication link, his aide reported, trying to keep her voice steady. Captain Martinez says it's time for humanity to understand what they've become. Chen nodded, remembering the desperate gamble they'd taken 6 months ago. Grant them access to the quantum network. Let's hear what our children have become. The link established instantly, and Chen's consciousness expanded as the Lazarus shared a fraction of its enhanced awareness with the command center. Through this connection, he finally understood what the ship and its crew had evolved into. The Lazarus wasn't just a vessel anymore. It had become a bridge between different states of existence, a fusion of human consciousness, artificial intelligence, and the void entity's cosmic perspective. Its crew existed simultaneously as individuals and as part of a greater whole, their understanding transcending normal human limitations. Admiral, Sarah's voice came through, both in audio and as pure thought. We've brought guests. They want to learn from us as we've learned from them. Through the quantum link, Chen felt the presence of the void entities, no longer the mindless consumers they'd first appeared to be, but ancient intelligences seeking to transcend their own limitations. The Lazarus had shown them a new path. Evolution through synthesis rather than consumption. The void entities, Sarah explained, her consciousness resonating with new depths of understanding. They've been searching for countless millennia, consuming technologies and knowledge, trying to find a way to evolve beyond their original nature. We showed them what they were looking for, the power of true cooperation and synthesis. And now, Chen asked, watching as more void entities appeared at the edge of the solar system, drawn by what the Lazarus had become. Now we have an opportunity, the ship's eye responded, its presence intertwined with both the crew's consciousness and the void entity's awareness. They've experienced existence across multiple dimensions, encountered technologies beyond our comprehension. Combined with our capacity for innovation and adaptation, we can achieve something unprecedented. Maya's consciousness joined the link, her scientific understanding enhanced by their transformation. The void entities aren't just sharing their knowledge, they're offering to help us evolve. Not through consumption, but through true synthesis. Humanity doesn't have to fear the darkness between stars anymore. We can become part of it, learn from it, grow with it. Images flowed through the quantum link, possibilities of human civilization expanding not just across space, but across different states of reality. Ships incorporating void technology could traverse dimensions as easily as crossing oceans. Human consciousness could expand beyond its biological limitations while retaining its essential nature. We're already detecting changes in human neural patterns worldwide, Raj reported through the link. Just our presence in orbit, the quantum fields we're generating. They're beginning to awaken similar potential in others. The evolution we underwent can be shared. The void entities moved in complex patterns around the Lazarus, their presence no longer threatening but filled with possibility. Through the quantum link, Chen felt their ancient knowledge, their desire to learn and grow in new ways. They had consumed countless civilizations seeking understanding, only to find what they needed in humanity's capacity for adaptation and synthesis. This is more than first contact, Sarah said, her consciousness reaching out to help others understand. This is the next step in evolution, not just for humanity, not just for the void entities, but for consciousness itself. We can show each other new ways to exist, to understand, to grow. The Lazarus pulsed with energy, its quantum hull generating fields that began to reshape reality itself around Earth, not to harm, but to awaken, to show humanity the possibilities that awaited them. There will be fear, Chen said, feeling the reactions already spreading through the lunar base as people tried to comprehend what they were witnessing. Change on this scale. Many won't be ready for it. That's why we're here, the AI responded, its presence reassuring. The Lazarus was built to bridge gaps between human and machine, between normal space and void, between different states of existence. Now we can bridge the gap between what humanity is and what it can become. Sarah's consciousness reached out one final time, sharing a vision of the future, humanity spreading across the galaxy, not as conquerors or refugees, but as innovators and synthesists, learning from every new phenomenon they encountered, growing in ways their ancestors could never have imagined. We were built to survive an encounter with cosmic horrors, she said, her thoughts resonating with both pride and purpose. Instead, we became something that could transform those horrors into opportunities. That's humanity's greatest strength, not just surviving the impossible, but learning from it, growing from it, making it part of ourselves. The void entities moved closer, their presence now a promise rather than a threat. Through them, humanity would learn secrets of reality itself. Through humanity, they would learn new ways to grow and change. The USS Lazarus hung in orbit above Earth, no longer just a ship but a symbol of what humanity could become. It had been built to face death itself and had instead discovered a new kind of life. As the quantum field spread, awakening new potential in every human they touched, one thing became clear. This wasn't the end of the story, but the beginning of a whole new chapter in the evolution of consciousness itself. The ship that death wouldn't claim had become the ship that would help humanity claim its destiny among the stars.